Minister, ladies and gentlemen. That's a singular honour you do me today, and I am very delighted to be able to receive it here in Vienna, rather more to the point, at the Spanish Riding School. I'm not sure that Colonel Hans Handler, who was, of course, in charge when I was here, quite realised what a novice he was getting when I turned up with Her Majesty on a state visit. Because, in fact, I'd only started competing in our horse trials events about a year before, and I sat on one dressage horse in the meantime, which belonged to Mrs. Joan Gold, called Roman Holiday, just to get some feel of what it was like to do, because otherwise I'd only done novice dressage. I had no idea. But I knew a lot more about the Spanish Riding School than I did about dressage. So to come here and to be offered that chance was a little worrying, to say, as an 18-year-old, having not done very much. Couldn't have been more generous. It was a very exciting and I think not too embarrassing an event, and I'd always appreciated that. And I'm only sorry, but I think I can pretend this is Sigla Vibona, can't I? Who was indeed the horse I rode, so who was kind enough to look after me really quite well. But I think I discovered very early on in that experience that sitting on a passage in Piaf was considerably more difficult than just riding cross-country and staying in the saddle. But I grew up riding. I thought I knew it all. I'd grown up on ponies. I learned a lot that day, but I've been brought up knowing about some of the history of the Spanish Riding School. I learned a lot more in that trip because we visited not just here, but the stud as well. And you have continued to uphold that tradition of classical dressage in the most extraordinary way. And if we look through their history, your history, as well as in Europe, there have been some difficult times. So for the school to still be here and being as recognised and celebrated as it is, has taken a huge amount of effort and enthusiasm from a lot of people, and many of you are here today. And there are a lot of other people outside of Austria who are grateful to you for the effort that has been made to maintain the Spanish Riding School and the way in which it supports the classical riding traditions. We are certainly poorer if we forget the history of our relationship with horses. And in my travels, I've had the opportunity to see many different types of horses in many countries who are fundamental to the success of those countries. It was the horse that made them. And that wasn't all that long ago, and which makes your contribution even more important. It's that build-up of knowledge and experience that is still relevant today. They may be doing slightly different jobs, but not here, because this is based on the history and of what was needed at the time. And we should remember that, and we should be grateful that horses have adapted, as well as they have, from the demands of their previous roles as work horses and as war horses, to become those of competition horses, which is a very different environment. And yet they seem, on the whole, quite happy to indulge their riders' rather quirky ambitions. And I speak as one who went from riding in events, sadly not back to dressage, which some of our event riders did, but on to racing. And I raced over fences as well, and that's a rather different environment. And I depended very nearly 100% on a horse's ability to want to jump a fence at speed. Respect the animals that you're riding and understand their talents and give them time to show that. And those who do really well are those who understand that relationship. And this is still something that you do particularly well here through the very fact that the history, the breeding of a breed that, judging by the picture behind me, originally came in many different varieties of colours, including the spotted varieties. But here you have majored on those famous white horses. And thank you for doing that, because I hope that helps you as well. And they are famous all around the world, and you maintain the standards, and you are still, I think, looked upon as very much the cradle of traditional horsemanship. So for us, to Carl and Charlotte and myself, as As you're well aware, the British didn't have a very high profile in the dressage arenas for quite a long time. We are extremely grateful that Carl and Charlotte completely changed that view, and I'm grateful too. But for you to celebrate the achievements of some British participants is equally very gratefully received. And I hope you feel that in Britain, the recognition of the Spanish Riding School here and what is achieved is still as high as ever. And certainly from us as recipients of these prizes today, very much so. So thank you so much.